Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's comic book review. Amber sends her apologies. She had to leave to go rest for a bit. She's come down with a cold. For those of you who watch Brooklyn Boys, you're going to see in the 360 this week. I had a cold from last Sunday all the way through till actually today, where I'm actually feeling better. But she recently caught it this past Wednesday, so she's really not feeling good tonight. So she actually she went to go lay down for a bit, so she won't be joining us for the rest of this episode. We hope that she'll be back by next week. Even though next week's a pretty short week, this week's going to be treated like a pretty short week. I'm still very fucking pissed off with this piece of shit. I don't believe... If I would have known it was a cut and paste, I would have just skipped the story. I'm being honest with you guys. If you have this on your hold list in a comic store, if you have this comic anywhere and you didn't buy it yet, and you have the option to put it back, put it back. I just told you what happens in this issue. Spider-Man is going to superhero school. He's going to die soon. That possibly means the Ultimate Spider-Man comic line is going to end.
Possibly.
It's a good possibility. Do you need this? If you are like me and you were into Ultimate Spider-Man comics starting back at issue number 24, that's when I started, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 24, all the way to now, and you got the special back in the 90s or in the early 2000s, you don't need this book. You don't need to waste your money. I honestly, yeah, I know I just said waste your money. Yeah, I wasted my money on this book. Brian Michael Bendis, you are a fucking asshole. Do not bullshit people into thinking that this is a 3 times... That's the advertisement for this book was, it's 3 times larger than a regular comic book for the Spectacular. And the 3 times larger, it's a fucking copy and paste.
No one will think of this.
Did.
No one will think of this, but that's actually illegal false advertisement.
It's not really false advertisement. It is 3 times bigger than a normal comic book.
Trickery.
He didn't say. There's nothing again. Unfortunately, there's no.
Well, that's just being an asshole, like you said.
Yeah, he's being an asshole. He never said it was new stuff. That's a little catch. He didn't say it was new stuff. All he said was it's 3 times larger than any normal comic, but he never mentioned that. Yeah, the story's a little bit larger than a normal story, but then the backup stories are all bullshit and crap that he's already sold, that he's already made money off of years ago in his Ultimate Spider-Man Special #1. And it even says it in here that it's the Ultimate Spider-Man Special #1 reprinted. So if you missed Ultimate Spider-Man #1, the special, yeah, you get this book. You'll be caught up. But if you got it like me, you just wasted $5.99. Well, thank God Midtown gives me a little bit of a break. But you just wasted about approximately $5 out of your pocket. You just about wasted that. It's $6 if you pay cover price. You just wasted $6 of your. You wasted 2 comic book worth of money. Wasted 2 comics right there with that shit. Another comic that I'm just losing interest in, and it's only in its 2nd issue, Uncanny X-Force #2. Logan is training Psylocke just in case Archangel turns on X-Force when they go after Apocalypse, because Apocalypse might take control of Archangel, because that's how he became Archangel. So Archangel walks in on the end of the training program, and Logan's like, "This is just in case. Don't take it personal. We got to be prepared for anything." And he's like, "Psylocke is passing with flying colors," and Archangel's like, "Oh well, I'm glad she's passing with flying colors," and he walks out. And him and Psylocke and Archangel have a little talk later on. And she's like, "Don't worry, I love you no matter what." And then they go after Apocalypse, and they get hit with the 4 Horsemen again. And Archangel gets taken out by I'm sorry guys, I don't know the 4 Horsemen. I don't know X-Men that well. I've already dropped several titles with the X-Men because how bad it is. But Archangel gets taken out, and Deadpool gets taken out, and the last page has the final Horseman showing up, and they ask the child who is known as who's I believe Apocalypse anyway, choose the X-Force's fate. I don't know. I'm being honest. I really don't know. I don't even think I'll wait for the next story arc. I'm being honest, guys. If this doesn't pan out, it's a $3.99 comic that I really don't need. I have a feeling, and this is just a prediction for 2011, all the Wolverine titles I feel like I'm going to drop. It's going to start with X-Force, and then it's going to work its way into possibly X-23. By the way, guys, I know that Dak and Dark Wolverine came out this week. I missed it by accident. I overlooked it on my list. I have it on order for next week, so I'll be reviewing Jack and Dark Wolverine next week. In my very short... Next week's a very small week because I think December has 5 Wednesdays. So there's always that very short week, and that's going to be the first week of the month. And with the holiday seasons coming up, I got these books today. I literally went through all of them today. I had to skim a few, and Uncanny X-Force was not hard to skim because it was kind of boring, and this fucking piece of shit was easy to skim through because half of it was shit. I'm
Just
sorry.
bury it somewhere.
I'd like to bury Brian Michael Bendis' career. That's what I'd like to bury. Fantastic Four 585 countdown. We are now at 2. Okay. Mr. Fantastic has gone off with Galactus, who wants to find the other Earth where he died, where they kill him in the past to bring them to the present, where they kill him in the future to bring them to the present. And he wants to find this Earth to ask them questions. Mr. Fantastic goes with him to answer questions with him. And Sue Storm is talking to Namor. This connects to stories that happened in the past. Those one-part stories that I was reading that I really wasn't interested in. It all connects here. So now all those stories kind of start to make sense a little bit more.
Cool.
Yeah, it's making sense now. A lot of the stories are now making sense. Where Sue Storm wants Namor to make a truce with the old Atlanteans. I did a review of that comic book, God knows, a couple of issues back. And there's still the small story of Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm. Ben Grimm, who is still human. And they're talking about kids and stuff like that. And in the end, basically, Namor assassinates the king of the old Atlanteans, and basically, in the very last page, the very last panel of the comic, he says there is but one king under the sea. He says Imperious Rex, and that's where they leave off. Sue Storm's plan backfires, and Namor kills the king, and that's where they leave you off. And the next
That's
issue.
alright.
The next issue's cover looks pretty
Fantastic
nice.
Four's always
The next
interesting,
issue's cover looks
usually.
really nice. I'm telling you guys the honest to God truth. Yes, it's $2.99, but once this story arc is done, I'm definitely probably going to drop Fantastic Four. I'm really not that interested in Fantastic Four. I mean, maybe with all the comics I'm dropping, maybe I will hang on to Fantastic Four because it's not bad. I'm enjoying it. At least I'm reading through this. Unlike this and unlike Ultimate Comics Spider-Man, I at least read this from cover to cover.
Yeah.
And it's pretty decent. It's really good. Now, tied for comic book of the week. I'm being honest, guys. There really isn't a comic of the week because nothing really astounded me. But if I have to say, there's one from Marvel and one from DC. This comic it's still doing really good. Amazing Spider-Man number 649, big time. I'm still enjoying it. There's a Spider-Man Black Cat team up. The Goblin tattoos show up in this issue. What else happened in this issue? Peter Parker starting his job at Horizon Labs. Oh, the Hobgoblin from the last issue gets killed by... I keep forgetting the guy's name. The original Hobgoblin, who was actually a good guy for a while. He uses his sonic laugh voice, and he hurts the Goblin, then he basically beheads the Goblin. I hate when I go too far. Don't you hate when you do that? You're trying to look for something and then
I'll find the page.
and he basically beheads him. I want to see if he says his name because I really feel bad that Phil Urich, the good Goblin, the only one that's left. He uses his sonic laugh, and the Goblin throws all of his blood vessels break, and then he basically beheads him, and he's pretty fucking psycho. This guy's very psycho. And yeah, Spider-Man and Black Cat break up a gang, and then there's a little bit of I thought this was funny. Peter Parker's girlfriend is a CSI investigator, right? She's in the apartment and doesn't notice on the floor his spider glove is on the floor, and he actually says, "Oh shit, my glove." It's right there. See, he even has to cover her to walk past it. He's like, "What was I thinking? My girlfriend is a CSI investigator." At some point, you know she's gonna find out.
I was gonna say she
And
might
by the
already.
way, Frontline is gone. Because J. Jonah Jameson donated money, the Daily Bugle is back. That's another good point. Another good part of this. The Daily Bugle has been brought back. And also you find out that McGargan, now that he's been separated from Venom, they're talking to the Beetle. And he's obviously now... He's saying that He needs here. We need to find a specialist right away. Someone with a high-tech know-how to fix this, because he needs something high-tech. He needs a costume or something, or else he's in trouble. And then basically, here's where I see a possible firing in the future. The head gives Peter Parker access to a special place, and he says, "You can hear, but you have to promise me this: that you will never do anything secret in that room, anything that could jeopardize the safety or good work of anyone at Horizon Labs." And Pete says, "Yes, I have a feeling in some future story arc, especially with this new Spider-Man costume coming out, that's what he's going to work on in this back room, and he's going to keep it a secret, and he's not going to tell them, and at some point they're going to find out." That's a possible future story arc. But then the Hobgoblin attacks. Pete jumps into action. Basically, this is the last page they leave you off at. To be continued. And then after that, in the back, they have a preview of the next 2 issues of Amazing Spider-Man, where you get the red suit here and then the green suits in the following issue.
The red suit looks like.
I don't know if it's the
like
same. It might be the same thing, only the lights change. I don't know.
Could be the lighting, but
Could be the lights. The lights
cool.
could change on the costume. I don't know. I'm praying that these new costumes are just a temp and not a permanent. I really like... Look, you keep the classics.
No, yeah,
The
definitely.
classic costume's good. If he's going to need this costume for 1 or 2 issues, or maybe 1 story arc or 2 story arcs, fine. Bring back the old costume, then do
I'll say
not...
one thing, it is
that way,
cool,
but
though.
it's really good. Oh, it's absolutely cool. But...
I know, edition.
Big Time is still doing Big Time great. It's doing amazing. Like the artwork is still good. Sloth is doing an amazing job, as opposed to the person who wrote before him. Because the person who wrote before him was a piece of shit, Bendis. And
Go back to him.
I'm not going back to him.
Please don't.
I'm waiting for them to bury his career. But anyway, with that, I'm done with this part. We will go into the next part where we'll delve into 1 comic from Image, which people told me not to get, and then the rest of DC. Okay, so see you guys in part 3.